Yo, what's good, peoples? All right, so I'm just gonna flash. I'm just chilling here in bed. bed. Obviously, I'm doing van life, so I'm just laying down. You guys probably would prefer to see me talk, right? So we'll do this. I'm shirtless. Don't fucking mind it. It's late. It's almost midnight. It might be a little bit past midnight, but still almost midnight, right? Um, yeah. I was watching some YouTube, and I was like, you know what? I watched the YouTube video that told me, to post a little more. And I was like, you know what? I should. I should definitely do that. So here's this video. I love making videos that are absolutely spontaneous. Just like freestyle. Freestyle rap, but video style. Okay? And, you could do so many things just by like the art of creation in the moment that you're in, tapping into that present moment and just like boom, 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 just sharing what is on your heart, your spirit, your soul, just, being a vessel of the creator, just being a little piece of creation yourself, just being a little divine little spark, just absolutely expressing yourself as authentically as possible. And that authenticity, my people, it means just peeling back all those layers that you think that you are, leaning not on your understanding, but obviously holding space for your beautiful brain, and finding that balance between these two spaces. And it's so beautiful. And no, it's not as if you have two faces. It's literally, it's like if you're focusing on what 2 plus 2 is, the rest of math still exists, right? But you know a little bit more of math than the 2 plus 2. So it's like when you lean not on your understanding, you're utilizing your brain components to solve a certain problem in the moment, but then you're also allowing for the space of that right hemisphere of your brain to just coalesce the energies of those sort of like aspects of everything that you're holding in that logic that you're trying to navigate through, and just allowing for the flow to come through. So it's like Libra in a way, where you're holding two different like polarities, but you're not necessarily weighing each of them to be more or less than the other. Okay. Part of the, Gemini is also like a double sign, with the Libra is also like a double sign, and that's because we got two hemispheres of the brain. But it's like people, they don't give a fuck about their brains. We're supposed to be a temple of the creation, which means like if you don't utilize actual learning through the process of like actually using your way of navigation, that means you're not really something that exists at all, if you could put it that way. And that's no disrespect, but I'm saying that you're not utilizing your full nature, your full essence, your full being to learn something. Then you really probably don't care about the subject, right? And that's totally okay. But there's probably something that you care about, something that vibes with you. So are you not learning the shit out of that, or are you holding back? You feel me? So it's like my brain is like, yo, I'm passionate about learning itself. So I'll be learning about learning. But I be doing it in a way that I'm trying to learn about it, in a way that I'm trying to learn about it without learning about it on how somebody else learned about it. Why? Because I'm trying to learn about it how I learn about it. And that's a higher level of learning, okay? But that's completely fine, and that's where you really want to be. That is the quintessential place where you want your spirit to reside, in the authenticity of how you learn to express yourself, okay? And why do I say this? I say this, I think this is very important, because it's like, through the learning process, they come these gems, these expressions, these ways of shining your light on something that is, understood by many, but in your own way. So basically, let's say you come to a very high level of this art, okay? You get at a high level of this art. Now you're able to look at any subject and extract the words, the vocabulary, the vernacular, anything that you need to say about it in the way that you think about it from within, okay? So you have a reference point of within. You kind of hold space for that. You kind of go there. You kind of do both of those at the same time. You have to develop the capability of holding more than one thought in your brain at once. Very simple concept. It's almost on par with multitasking, right? But it's not the same as multitasking. Multitasking is kind of like an offshoot or an expression of this, but honestly, they're very different. That's why meditation is super important. Let's say you read in the Bible and you read a parable that Jesus speaks. Well, a parable is automatically more than one meaning. Yet you're going to focus on just one meaning in order to try to find meaning out of the parable? Tell me how that's going to work out. It's not. Not at all. You have to do at least two, which is to say that, let's say you read something and then you read it a week later and it meant two different things to you because you were illuminated on some sort of lesson in between. Now you take both of those meanings, which is to say that that first time you read it, you kind of read it and then it's like, okay, but then you didn't lean on your understanding completely. So you didn't like accept that as the truth as it was. And then you allowed for God to allow for the space for him to teach you, a little bit more about what he wrote about in that verse. Okay. And then that next week is going to go by. And then, you come back to that same verse, you read it again, and now it means something a little bit different to you. But because you left that a little bit of that space in you to be able to learn something greater, now you're a little bit closer to the truth. Okay? But that doesn't mean that that first way that you saw it was completely wrong either. Now you have a more complete view with three different perspectives. So you have that first reading of it, then you have that week after, and then you have what is in between those two, and even a fourth perspective where it's outside of the understanding of those three, outside of the understanding of those two put together. Okay, and we're not gonna make this video too long. It's just a little midnight video, so that's probably a good lesson enough, and I'ma catch y'all later. Hope you guys learned something cool about how you can read about the parables, really get into the word about how you really studying to show yourself approved for real though, like for real approved, like for real studying, for real getting a knowledge in ways that is like, hell yeah, it's unconventional. And they're not gonna tell you this like you ask a pastor what I'm telling you. Half of them, they're gonna say, oh no, don't listen to this little kid right here, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But then if you actually ask God, he'll be like, you better listen to Eric, he's telling you something that you need to hear, because nobody's gonna bring it to you like Eric does. No, why? Because I made Eric just how he is, There's nobody on this planet like me. And that is the beautiful thing that I've realized about myself. And, that expands the love that I have for myself, thusly expanding my love for life and, humanity, as well as my, creator that has endowed me with such a beautiful mind. But, we're to give glory to God, but I've realized that God doesn't want us to hold back from our self appreciation. To say that, you could say that I'm gifted XYZ, but bro, I did the freaking work, bro. I was, I was in the book studying. I was really putting the time down. I quit my job to study shit. You know what I'm saying? I went kingdom of heaven first with my head in my ass with that shit, bro. So it's like crazy different levels. When I like said like, okay, objectively, if I am to like take the narrow path, it's probably gonna look different than a lot of people do. And obviously that's that's how I ended up like this. And I'm a very happy person now. And I attribute it to having faith that is beyond my understanding. And honestly, bro, kick some ass, man. And don't aspire to be like me. Aspire to be like your fucking self. Be more you, bro. Just like be like, oh shit, Eric unlocked himself on levels that I aspire to unlock myself on levels. Bro, you can be inspired by like what I do, what I say and stuff like that, but honestly it needs to point you back to yourself. Why? Because that essential human essence that's within you, bro, that is like that fire that we need to tap into. And obviously like do it with the mindset that like you're automatically slaying all kinds of cybernet robots and shit like that from the future. Like already set your foundation to where it's like, bro, there's no shot that anybody's about to harvest like some sort of like aspect of me that is not gonna bring greater like fulfillment to the whole picture, okay? So it's like obviously like we listen to each other, so that's like a form of like harvesting word, right? And God is the word, but like there's a protection there. And it's like your understanding has to be like fucking strong. You have to have the full armor at the same time, have such a full armor to where you could go into battle straight naked and just mog everybody. And that's the type of levels that you need to aspire to. So let's kick some A. Let's get out there and get some high ass marks in your studies. Get some unfathomable revelations in your journey. Stop listening to other people download shit to you, because then you're just gonna muddy the fucking waters that lead back to your internal self, aka you're probably just gonna become a parent and just fucking go like put your, I don't know, aspirations into the next generation or some bullshit, lose your soul completely, then just like want your kid to be great instead of the fact that you should have been the one being great in the first place. Like get the fuck out of here with that shit. Fuck a nuclear family, bitch. Be the nuke.